call to order. Can we get a roll call, Secretary?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Roll call. Dr. Brenda Robinson. Here. Mr. Philip West.
Here.
Dr. Diane Bunch. Here. Mrs. Moana Grinnell Ware. Here. And Mr. Amos James.
Here. Everybody clear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Adoption of the agenda, anything needs to be changed or added to the agenda at this time?
Mr. James, the member of the board, 7.4 to be $1,000 per month for PTA coordinator, and $2,000 for the technical.
Okay. Anything else?
Promotion would accept the agenda based in this agenda.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second, all in favor? Aye. It passes 5-0. Okay, now we will have public comment. Is there any public comment? There is none. Item number 5, recognition and presentation. School safety app presentation.
That's us.
All right.
That's me. Just stand right here.
Yeah.
No, we want to do it.
Okay. I'm Jessica Stubbs, and I am a member of our local Crime Stoppers organization. And we have been working on ways how to get our community safer and, more importantly, our schools safer with all of the school safety issues that are going on around the country. And with the sheriff's help and the police chief's help and our board's help, we've done some research on an app that we would like for you all to consider implementing into our school safety. Y'all are building this beautiful new high school, retrofitting the middle school for safety. This is going to be another layer that we believe will be very, very, very instrumental in going a whole nother step further. You should have a PowerPoint there that's printed out. I'm not going to go over all of this because it's quite lengthy. It has a lot of information in there that I would like for y'all to look over and discuss. What I will do is just go over the high points if you don't mind. This particular app, we have a P3 app which anybody here can download and use. That's part of what we use in our Crime Stoppers program to help law enforcement. It's anonymous, just like Crime Stoppers is. This is for campuses, for kids and teachers. And it's called the P3 Campus app. Right now, currently, it's used in over 36,000 schools. Our military, all of our law enforcement in areas of the country use it. It's web-based. Of course, all the tips are reported through the app anonymously. How it works is the school board would purchase the program, and one person would be designated, or more. You may need more than one person depending on the size. Would be considered the gatekeeper who would receive the anonymous tips. And it would go from there as to the investigation of those tips and how those tips would be reported to law enforcement if it's necessary. They analyze the validity of the tip that's reported from the child or the teacher. And it uses, when you log in, and you can go home and download just the regular P3 app, and it's basically the same. It's very close to it. What we use, what the free for our community can use, but this is tailored for the school. It uses a 4-digit code, so the students never even put their name in there, so it's completely anonymous. If you look on page 8, the list of incidences, which I think this is the most fantastic thing, it's everything from a child can report someone that's homeless, that has domestic abuse going on, guns, drugs, alcohol, you name it, anything, it's pretty much covered in there. They can submit pictures and videos, and once the tip is submitted from the child or the teacher to the gatekeeper, the person that's in charge of the tips, and it's analyzed, the gatekeeper can communicate through the app with the tipster still anonymously and ask for more information. And if the tipster is comfortable giving the information, then, that helps, of course. The pricing that I received for the entire district, for the whole Natchez-Adams, and this includes every school, was $5,550. And that includes every child getting the app, I think every teacher getting the app, and the training materials, and anything else that is included in there. I have the contact for the person that I would like to give y'all so that you can speak. I'm not the sales rep. I'm just relaying the information because I think it's just a wonderful thing. And I feel like if our district would adopt this and use it, it's just going to steamroll. And imagine if we could get our entire state to do it, because there are states that do it. And then the state could maybe cover the cost for our as a whole. And I mean, I'm going to work with the schools in Louisiana as well and try to get them on board, because these kids all know one another, and this is going to bleed into our community and not only help just our schools and our teachers, but our crime problem as a whole. And Sheriff Patton. Sure.
Is 5,000 a year?
I think so, yes, sir. Yes, sir, I believe so. But I'm going to give you the lady's name, and she's wonderful, and
She'll come back.
yes, sir, yes, sir.
Well, let me ask a follow-up.
Sure.
Who would have to pay the person who received the call?
Well, no, I don't know. See, that's going to be something that y'all will have to figure out who that receiver is going to be for those tips.
Okay.
So it's
somebody out there that's already involved.
correct. Yes, it's going to be someone that y'all choose. It's going to be your choice of who would receive that information.
Okay.
A suggestion would be, if you all were considering to do this, because I know you all have some stuff in place already, but a suggestion would be Melvin Davis right there, because he has law enforcement experience. You already have him on the security platform, with the school district and things of that nature. But the biggest part about the app is being able to remain anonymous while you're reporting information. I tell people all the time, the greatest source of information in this community and any other community are the children. They know everything, but sometimes they don't want to come forward, just like parents are reluctant to come forward because of fear of retaliation. This here eliminates that. Like I said, I'm not sure, I can't remember what he told me you all had in place, but this is one thing that kind of keeps the liability off of your shoulders as well when it comes to that. So that's why we're asking for you all to consider it. I know there's a lot of money that's been put out there for grants for school safety this year. A ton of money been put in that, and a ton of money has been put in mental health. The president just put out $300 million and asking people to come take this money to get counselors and things in school. So while that funding is out there, that's why we wanted to make sure we got to the board and presented every opportunity out there for the board, because the school that you're building is outstanding. And there's some things that technology is constantly evolving. There's so much stuff that has been put in place that are coming out to help prevent what you've seen recently with the most recent incident, and then the one that's in breaking news today. This is only going to enhance those safety issues that may need to be addressed in a different format if you give people an opportunity to talk without having to come forward. That's all. Okay. Thank you all for
Just
considering.
the app then would go to our designated person, which
Correct.
would be Melvin Davis, and then they would then contact the sheriff.
Correct.
So that would be the pipeline.
Correct.
Yes. Well, see, that app is just like you said, it's just like the Crime Stoppers one. And we actually had tips 411 at the sheriff's office, but after we started using P3, we dismissed it. We got rid of the tips 411 because our thing was we wanted to be able to communicate with that individual constantly. And P3 allows us to do that without knowing who they are. Sometimes, people don't want to come forward, but they can lead you right to the evidence. And that's what's important for us. You can talk in real time and put us right on top of where we need to
And
be.
what you want us to do is to try to get to every child, because in the district.
Right.
Because we think that children often see things.
Correct.
And let them be the eyes to watch.
You'll be
Do you have
amazed.
any history of what kind of additional load this would be, say, if we were where Officer Davis? Do you have any information on whoever's using this now to see if in fact, because I would imagine these students will come in 24/7, right?
Right, it
Okay.
could, yes, sir.
So, would in fact, not having a designated person, or more than one person, be
I would think more than one person. I don't know, I think that this,
In the past, what we've done with P3, the police department has a designated person, the sheriff's office has one as well. But I could even, just thinking about how we use it, I don't see why you couldn't have two designated people on it. Like, you can have Officer Davis there, and then you can have some of us, if y'all choose to put us in that loop. It'll be up to you if you want to do that.
Okay.
But even when we had the app in-house, we put multiple people on there to make sure that the tip didn't fall between the cracks. And that way we had somebody who could respond pretty quickly, because sometimes people be willing and then they'll change their mind if they don't hear from you, if they feel like if it's falling on deaf ears. So that is something that needs to be considered.
Well, I'm familiar with this app, and from what I've read, usually it'll go to the administrative assistants of each school, and in turn, the administrative assistants will contact whoever the second person is for the school district, and go forth from there.
that would be good. That'd be a way to thin it out a little bit.
That is true, but for time restraints, the only reason, that's why I suggested law enforcement, because if it's a tip like that, it really needs to get on to where it needs to be. After 48 hours, things have a tendency to start going cold. With you all having somebody in place there, and I hope I'm not throwing you on the bus back there. But he already works with all of us extremely well. He communicates extremely well, and and I'm sure, he wouldn't do anything harmful for the school because he hadn't did so far, but it would just save time.
Say another one or two persons who work with you.
Yes.
Yes, I think that would be the best idea.
Yes.
And as for the cost estimate, this lady that I'm going to give you her contact information, she just pulled it up, whatever her system is. So it could be different, it could be less. You could change it, you could, correct.
Pieces, yeah.
I mean, I don't see our first graders needing
Right.
the app necessarily, So if someone wants to write down her phone number and her name and her phone number, I'll be more than happy to give it. Okay, I'd be glad to. Any other questions? Okay, great. Thank y'all so much for hearing us. I really appreciate it. Okay. Her name is Steph, S-T-H. Selman, S-E-L-M-A-N. Her phone number is
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you.
5.2, recognition of summer workers. And you,
Anyway, Mr. James and members of the board, as we came to you in April, I asked you for permission to allow some of the student workers to work with us. We started off with 19, and Mr. Coach Wesley was our person who was really the supervisor over those workers, and Mr. Bates was our truck driver because we had to send back to rent a truck because we had so much stuff to do and we had to leave the truck with a lift day. And we started with 19, and to me, we ended up with 4 or 5 workers. And to me, I think the 4 or 5 workers that we ended up with, for the parents who are the parents of these students, that means that at home, you are doing a fantastic job because you're letting students know that not only do you have to do reading, writing, and arithmetic, but also you have to make sure you take care of the other parts of your business as well. And I'll tell you who my favorite was on the whole crew once they're introduced, okay? And we also, when they're introduced, we want to have their parents come up with it, because oftentimes, whenever there's a good child, there's a parent behind the child. Whenever there's a child who's challenging, most of the time there's a parent behind the child, but not in all cases. Because with children, no matter what you do, when they get to be 14, 15, they get their own amount of their own. Until they get to be 26 years away.
26, okay.
Yeah. So we'll start with the students. When I call the student's name, the student and the parent come down and get a picture with Mr. Butcher and the lead person, Mr. Wesley. Coach Larry Wesley, y'all give him a hand. You gonna come and take a picture with my children?
You know no problem, some people say,
Evan Barnes.
you know, he made his own way, but I did not know that was something. He living on his own reputation. Mr. Bond, I refer to him on the group. He was a strong man. You can see, he was the same man in the way, so he was a strong man. But we appreciate you and congratulations, son.
Is that our vice president of Colleen?
Yes.
Y'all gonna get it.
Don't get in front of the window.
Down now so you see your face.
Who actually your input? Will you take what Dr. Barnes found, please?
Here, don't push back in. The other side.
Thank you so very much, and thank you, Dr. Barnes, for running through that.
Sandra, I guess it paid off, all those committee meetings, you had to leave me, go get him. Okay.
Tyler McDonald.
Tyler, man, you know, I don't know where Tyler's mother was during this summer, but the granddad made sure he old school. The granddad made sure he was there on time every day.
I don't think Tyler didn't have a tour yet. We got to work.
Brandon Page.
Yeah, you don't look like you have children.
He didn't have no tour.
So that means that our teachers are teaching now in the classroom, but they're also teaching at home.
Joshua Poole.
I'm worried about Josh, and Josh is my favorite. And he was my favorite because when I finished high school, I was 5'2", I weighed 96 pounds. 96 pounds, okay? But, yeah, but no matter what the task might have been this summer, whatever Coach West asked Josh to do, he didn't back up from it. He was always there. and he was a very, very diligent and very hard worker. You didn't have to pause him along, okay? So I would say, Josh, if you keep those work ethics all along through life, you'll be very successful, whatever you decide to do, okay?
All right.
Thank you.
I think you're trying to room you be superintendent.
I was your size too one time, John. Cornelius Robinson.
And Canadian, there was his face on something right there. But we really, the pace didn't mean a whole lot. The thing about it is, he stuck it out to the end. That's the most important part.
I'm not the mom, I'm standing in for the mom.
And then you know, Coach West is not the easiest person to work with sometimes.
Well, a lot of clapping on that one. And I know a lot of you board members, you all have had a chance to visit the schools and all of that. It was a lot of work this summer, and we've had a smooth start to school, even with all the transitions and all that we're going through. And it's because of the students that we just recognized and the people that we're going to recognize next.
Let's do this because none of the top stories are here, so now that means I didn't get the word out. I didn't let them be excused like maybe an hour before time. So we'll bring them back for the next meeting. That be all right? Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
That we'll recognize the next time.
And are these students, they're not seniors, right?
Big boy?
Yes. So that means we have work that goes on through the year. So these should be on the top of your list.
Yes, sir.
So when we have something done in your age, keep them on the list. You know, they told me y'all built files and it was computers and everything on the hardware, on the highway. Is that true? That's true, he said. There's pencils and paper, all on the highway. They did a good job, though. They said, yeah, I just planned it. Okay.
Well, I certainly know that we need to congratulate them because anybody could hang out. We started with 19, I think we're down to 5.
Yeah.
So, we set a record because normally we have so much turnover under Mr. Butcher. We're down to 10. Just kidding. Congratulations.
Did Coach Wesley recruit y'all to run track?
Two of them. Three of them.
See, he's on a mission. Coach Wesley is on a mission. Yeah. Only the strong survive. We're proud of you all. Very much. Thank you.
All right. Going back.
Thank you, Pam, for bringing them down today. I know you have a lot of things to
Yeah.
Motion to recess for
Second.
It's been moving, all in favor. Got this one? Out of recess,
I'll offer a motion to come out of recess meeting, go back into our regular session.
Second.
it's been moving, seven, all in favor. All right, we out of recess. Okay. Now, item number 6, approval of July 19, 2022 regular meeting minutes. Approval of August 2nd, 2022 special call meeting minutes, and approval of August 9th, 2022 special call meeting minutes. And get approved.
So moved.
That's second.
Okay, it's been moved and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye, passes 5-0. Okay, approval of consent items. Anything in consent items at this time we'd like to move to action items.
We just need to roughly show that 7.4 should be $1,000 worth of your board.
Okay, so we'll put that in the motion.
a motion that we will make an adjustment for item number 7.4 under the consent items to $1,000 as opposed to whatever it was before.
Been moved in second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Passes 5-0.
Now we need to have the approval of the consent of all of them.
I move that we approve all of the consent items.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved in second. If not, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Passes 5-0. Approval action item 8.1. Ms. Bryce.
Good evening, Mr. James and members of the board. The Office of Human Resources presents the August board report, personnel board report 8.1, and the personnel vacancy list 8.1A. It is a recommendation of the superintendent that the board of trustees approve the attached personnel changes and document therein.
Okay.
Before we approve it,
You want to move it to?
the personnel report, the way we used to get it, I would like to receive it like this. Okay.
Sent out. You want
No,
it paid?
the personnel report, where he have everybody who has retired, who has this, who has that, I don't have it.
You have that?
No, it's not in
Yeah,
here.
it's behind the cover sheet.
Look on the A for A, B, C.
8.1, right?
Keep going. The first page is your cover sheet. The next page is the actual report that shows you the names of those persons retiring or resigning, certified staff recommendations.
I don't have it.
A, B.
I think that should be page 29.
Yeah, that's it. See, those are resumes. Oh, those are actual files. Goal sheets, exit sheets. Okay, there you go.
You straight now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, keep on.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay.
So you want to have a chance to review it, or you just,
You can,
I'll offer a motion that we would table it for a few minutes and come back after we go further down the list to give Dr. Robinson, who may give us a chance to review.
okay. Make a second on that?
Second.
Been moved in second, all in favor?
Alright.
It passes 5-0. Okay, let's go to 8.2.
Good afternoon, Mr. James and members of the board, Mr. Boucher, Ms. McDonald Green. I'm presenting action item 8.2, request for approval of the contractual services. I'm requesting that we accept the bids for Rosemont Consulting, Bailey Educational Group, Fluency Plus, and contractual speech services with by Bridget Moore.
Now, could you give us just a brief synopsis of what the functions will be for the group?
Of course, for Rosemont Consulting and Bailey Educational Group, they will be doing our professional development. Fluency Plus will do our behavior intervention services, PBIS services. They'll also do our applied behavior analysis services, those for students for behavior interventions. And our contract with speech pathologists will be our private school person that will render speech services to all the private schools.
Okay. So the speech services that's rendered by private schools come to our budget.
Okay.
Yes, we have to allocate that percentage to the private schools, and that's the services that we render to students over there with speech impediments, and we have to pay for that through our budget.
No, Ms. West, that's not coming.
That's the budget.
That's coming through the regular special educational lot.
Okay.
And that's a mandated allocation
Yeah, because it's paid by
from
federal.
our budget.
If we get proposals, I assume we got proposals on these, or they got proposals on these particular services.
Ms.
they do.
Bassett, the question, well, now, we did receive quotes and proposals on that
Yes, these are all from the bids that we opened up.
at the last meeting before that.
Okay. And after your review, these are the best proposals, so to speak, or the recommended proposals. Ms. Bassett?
Yes, sir, after reviewing, those proposals, these companies we are needs for this department.
I would like the personnel report moved to executive session. I have questions.
Well, we table.
Okay.
And so once we come back, then you can move it.
See, yes.
So we need a motion to
Yeah,
accept the
yeah.
recommendation of the.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, we need a motion.
Oh, okay. I'll offer a motion that we would accept the recommendation regarding accepting the contractual service bids for exceptional services presented by Ms. Bassett.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, all in favor? It passes 5-0. Okay. 8.3.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the board, Superintendent, Deputy Superintendent. You have before you item 8.3, which is the approval of bid for band equipment. Bids were received back on July 19th, and they were opened up and they were approved by the board. We were granted permission to move forward with reviewing the bids. There was one bid received through the mail from Alto Music and an electronic bid from Jackson Metro Music. After review of bid specifications, Alto Music and Jackson Metro Music were invited to the reverse auction, which was held on Tuesday, July 26th, from 10 to 11. The auction started with an opening bid of $108,131 and ended with that bid. And that was from Jackson Metro Music. Alto Music declined to participate. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees grant permission to accept a bid from Jackson Metro Music for the band equipment.
Are you saying $108? $108,000?
$108,000.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You say,
Yes, sir. I said, well, you're right. I didn't say it. I didn't spell out the 1,000.
Can you
But yes,
what is,
108,000.
Mr. Bird, can you just tell us basically
Yes.
what instruments we're buying?
Now, I do not have the list in front of me, but there was, it was all presented. I don't have the list in front of me.
Those are mostly the bigger instruments,
The tubas
the
and,
tubas, the brand,
lot of-
the most expensive instruments, because we feel like for the most part, parents might need to buy clarinet there, those kind of things.
flute,
Right,
clarinet,
that's right. But if I'm not mistaken, we also are buying some violins and the strings program as well. This is part of the package that you asked us to put in,
right,
but 2 years ago, as you were
Absolutely.
trying to upgrade the
upgrade the
art
arts.
program. Right. Now, we should be in a position now to have instruments for the junior high student as well as the high school student, because for the most part, our program's been suffering because of the fact of the lack of instruments at the junior high level and the lack of interest. So if you get a child an instrument to go in junior high, and he kind of falls in love with that instrument, especially if you learn how to operate it. Right?
So our emphasis now is trying to get on the junior high level, get some of these instruments in the hands of kids.
Right.
Okay.
Right, we had a meeting with the band director and assistant band director, was that last week?
Yes.
Last week, and once we get things a little bit more settled, maybe this coming week, we'll ask him to go around to each of the elementary schools as well, and try to recruit some students, because, everybody wants to play football, basketball. But football, basketball scholarships are hard to come by. If you can read notes, your chance of getting a scholarship is always good out there.
Amen. That's true.
let me ask, Bruce, are you on? Bruce?
Yes, sir, I am.
You've heard the presentation regarding only one proposal
That's right.
participate, or one company participated in
Yes.
the
Reverse
auction, reverse auction.
Yes, sir.
Do we have to have any special language in our, when we take action on this particular matter that would I guess, justify us taking action as it relates to not having anybody else a part of the bidding process, so to speak?
Mr. West, I don't believe so.
Okay.
They submitted a bid and were invited to the reverse auction. By failing to participate, that doesn't
invalidate our process, and so I don't think anything further is required.
Okay. See, the reverse off is just an additional step.
I know.
All right.
Well, I'll make the motion gladly that we approve the bids for the band equipment being lowest and best bid and
Right.
only bid.
Second.
Okay, the motion was made by Dr. Blunt, second by Ms. Ware. Any discussion? Not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it passes 5-0. Thank you.
8.4, Mr. James, and members of the board, this gives us an opportunity to be able to look at prospective teachers because we have this agreement set up in Alcorn already, but this helps us to broaden our scope some and have the same kind of agreement set up with University of Southern Mississippi, using for our student teachers or practice teachers, whatever you want to call them now. Using Ms. Morris is responsible for working with the principals and placing those folks. And we try to keep a close check on Ms. Morris. If she says, hey, Mr. Bush and Mr. McDonald, this is a good teacher, we go to them with a contract in hand to try and keep them here, and work sometimes it fails. But at any rate, it gives us an opportunity to broaden our scope.
So we don't have that at this particular point.
Now with USC, we have it all going.
We've got it with Alcorn, but
Right.
that's the only institution by it we've got.
Right.
But I would imagine USM is actually putting out more teachers just by the size of the school, and also it's always been traditionally a teaching school.
And I can't answer that,
Education.
Dr. Blunt. I really can't.
How many want to come this way, I don't know, but I'm just saying that gives us a larger group to select from. So that's a win-win.
So have we approached them, or they've approached us about this arrangement?
I think he approached us on the most part. Most likely, there are some students from this particular area who probably would come out and do their PT here.
Okay.
And as a result, due to the fact that we're not an approved center for them, so they're expanding their horizon also.
Okay.
And I like that they have in contract that, they have to have 3 consecutive years of positive evaluation.
Right. As you saw the news, teachers are rare, people come out these days.
Yeah.
But I think we're fortunate this year.
To be fully staffed. Very lucky.
Mr. James, I think in one state I saw, if you've been in the military for 4 years, you can come home and be a teacher.
It's Florida.
Can we get a photo op with USM? Because that's positive. And
Sure
it needs to be put in the media.
And put in the Hattiesburg paper as well.
Wait a second, somebody's motion.
I will make the motion that we accept the bid between, the MOE with Hattiesburg, USM.
I second already. I think I
Second
moved
before you
it before you finish.
I don't think that's parliamentary procedure, Mr.
You're right, I second.
Okay, it's been
I made the
motion
motion.
and second. Got it?
Yes, sir.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, what, 8.5?
Yes.
8.5.
Mr. James, members of the board, I have a resolution for your approval that will honor Ms. Mary Gladys Stanton. Ms. Stanton is turning 100 years old, so we would like to present her with this resolution at a celebration that they are having for her on September 17th.
So move.
You didn't even let them read the resolution. Read it to
A resolution honoring Mary G. Stanton on the occasion of her 100th birthday. Whereas Mary May Stanton, Ms. Stanton, born and reared in Natchez, Mississippi, Adams County, the eldest of 5 siblings to Charlie and Eddie King, and whereas Ms. Stanton graduated from Broomfield High School, and whereas Ms. Stanton attended Natchez College, Alcorn State University, Indiana University, and Copiah Lincoln. And whereas Ms. Stanton was inspired by a family friend and church member, Ms. Annie Bell Ransom, and her aunt, Mrs. Annie King, to become a teacher. She had absolutely no desire to do domestic or field work. Thus, going to college and teaching was an easy choice. May's passion and real love has always been working with children, mentoring, shaping minds, and impacting lives. Her first salary was $28 a month. She worked 11 years in the classroom, 3rd and 5th grades, and 27 years as a principal in the Natchez-Adams School District. And whereas Ms. Stanton has been an active member of the St. Mark Baptist Church in Kingston, Mississippi, Pastor K.E. Stanton, serving in the choir, missionary ministries, Sunday school, Bible study, the hospitality committee, and director of Vacation Bible School. She is also a member of Mississippi Homemaker Volunteers, first African American president, and retired teachers. May's hands and feet have to move. Her hobbies and interests include Bible study, reading, puzzles, word games, fishing, crocheting, 100 plus Afghans, and baking. And whereas Ms. Stanton was married to James B. Stanton for 43 years, her steadfast love for God and family is always exhibited as she has been a blessing to countless family and friends. She is a remarkable influence, positive role model, and source of strength and longevity. Her limitless energy, creativity, warmth, and generosity has welcomed many into her home and heart. And whereas the Board of Trustees of the Natchez-Adams School District are grateful for the dedication and commitment of Mary G. Stanton for serving as a teacher for 11 years and a principal for 27 years. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Natchez-Adams School District hereby honors and recognize Mary G. Stanton on her 100th birthday for her many years of dedication to the students of the Natchez-Adams School District. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be spread upon the minutes of this board and a copy of it be prepared for presentation to Ms. Stanton as a genuine and sincere expression of our gratitude for her service and for reaching a milestone not shared by many. Resolved this the 16th day of August 2022, Natchez-Adams School District Board of Trustees. Amos James Jr. President, Philip West Vice President, Diane Bunch Secretary, Brenda Robinson Assistant Secretary, LaWanna Grinnell Ware Member.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye. It passes 5-0.
Thank you, and this one needs your signatures at the end of it.
Could we do this if it's all right with the board? Could we have maybe Mr. Fields and his, at least 2 or 3 people out of his department to read this so we can take and send it to her?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to the celebration. I'm going to present it to her on behalf of.
There you go.
All right. Okay.
Are you considering ministry?
No, sir. Because we don't take it.
Okay.
You might have to
He's
sound.
already the minister of music.
I'm going to leave it right there.
Something tell me you don't think you qualified.
No comment.
Okay. 8.6.
8.6, Mr. James, members of the board, is approval of policy IHBA, which is our makeup work policy. If you're looking at in the board book that you have, we are revising the actual policy to read that district policies governing the makeup schedule for tests and classroom assignments missed because of absences are adopted by the school board and published annually. So that will be the general policy that is set forth. And each year the board will review the actual student handbook that will include the actual specific provisions of the makeup work policy. After that particular cover sheet, board item cover sheet is the actual makeup work policy. I do see there is a correction that needs to be made. It says that students are allotted 5 parent notes per year. That has actually been amended to be 8 parent notes per year. That's 2 notes per grading period. So parents can write notes for 2 days each grading period for the excused absences. Beyond that, they would need to bring medical excuses or so forth. Of course, if there's are extenuating circumstances, of course, we work with those families. So the make-up work policy reads for elementary students that they will be allowed to make up work for any missed absences, whether unexcused or excused. The rationale is we don't want to penalize children who they don't get themselves up in the morning, they don't get themselves to school. For middle and high school, it is different. They are allotted make-up work with full credit for any excused absences and for those parent notes. Once those parent notes have been exhausted, then they will not be allowed to make up missed work. The rationale is on the secondary level, we're having issues with students waiting to the end of the 9 weeks, then they want to make all of this work up, or we're just having issues with them attending school. So we're hoping that this particular provision will encourage our students to actually come to school. And so it is the recommendation that the board approves policy IHBA.
So the parents, you know, 5 absences.
8.
Okay,
Yeah, that's the correction.
okay. So, these will be excused, right, or unexcused?
Excuse.
Okay.
What policy are we operating under now versus what you just?
Currently for parent notes, they were allotted 5 parent notes for the year. So if you use your 5 notes up in first 9 weeks, that was it. This spreads it out over the course of the year. For makeup work, this past year, whether it's excused or unexcused absences, they were allowed to make up work within a certain time frame based upon their absences. So if you were absent for 3 days, you had 3 days to make that work up, whether excused or unexcused.
Okay. And so the difference is now, what you recommend?
On the secondary level, once you've exhausted your excused absences and your parent notes, you would not be allowed to make up work.
Okay.
Do you attribute a lot of this, the absences and this idea we can make it up, to the sense of using Canvas?
Most certainly.
Yeah.
Most certainly.
In other words, it's good. It's on Canvas, so I've looked at it on Canvas, and therefore I shouldn't have to go to class.
Absolutely.
This is happening all over.
Don't get me wrong, makeup work is a Band-Aid, but missing the actual in-person instruction is an injustice.
But we've set up this pattern with all students now, in universities too, where class time and by so much online education and so much during COVID, you see, this is the everyone thinks, okay, I can just look at it and be okay.
Right, so there's no excuse for no excuse.
So this policy will go into effect when?
This year.
This year.
This year, for
Yes,
this
sir.
year?
Yes,
So
sir.
it's not for review, it's
For approval. Yes, sir.
It's for approval.
Yes, sir.
Well, I move that we approve the policy, makeup work with the correction.
Second.
Been moving 7, all in favor?
But my
Passes.
concern is yours, Mr. Butcher. I mean, anything we can do to get the student in the classroom face to face with the teacher, we have to move ahead like that. Because, I mean, these are again remnants of COVID and confusion, but they need to be in class, even if they don't think they do.
But we got to work our way slowly out of the COVID year,
Absolutely,
because it's been devastating.
absolutely. And what businesses are seeing in their labor force, we're seeing in the children.
Same thing with the military. Kids are having trouble passing the military test.
Well, they don't think, that they need to be in the face, face to face with the teacher, but they do.
Well, we got to recognize that COVID is not completely gone.
Well, that's true too.
So, a lot of people are still getting sick.
But it's
I
gonna be a
look at
difficult
them
thing.
every day.
It's gonna be a difficult thing to do, because on yesterday, I heard contradictions in terms of what the guidelines are. Okay, because he's basically saying, well, you need to do this, you need to do that. And they also indicated on this particular program on yesterday, I saw where they are basically saying, even if a child has COVID, they should still stay in school.
Put a mask on, yeah.
With a mask, that's correct. And then somebody later was saying, you do the thing that we already do, whatever.
Yeah, but if they stay in school, they're gonna infect other kids as well as the teachers.
I understand that, I'm just saying that's what some of these
Well, we try,
CDC, somebody representing the
Yeah.
CDC say.
what we try very hard to do, Mr. James and board members, we try to have a blend between CDC guidelines and common sense.
Okay?
That's what we try to do. Because if a child has been tested positive, and, even with a mask, school is not safe for them.
Because how many children are checked out a day because someone contracted COVID at the house? Do we have a count on that?
We don't.
And neither do we have a count on, we probably do, but I would imagine it's low based on the number of parents or guardians who've given permission for us to be tested by us.
But we just send those, we do a new form every year,
Right,
and we just sent those forms out this past week.
so we don't have any numbers at this point. But I remember last year, I think.
It was low.
That was hard.
It was difficult to get parents to give that permission.
Right. Well, we sent the consent forms out last week, so hopefully they'll probably talk to my team this week.
And so a number of parents that we've talked with who've had other children who've tested positive in the home, and the children they currently have tested, the other children have tested negative, so they want them to come back. They've been very appreciative of the opportunity for the children to come back with on-campus testing. So they can come, we test them in the morning, if they're negative, they go on to license.
Okay. So with the rise of the smallpox and monkeypox, would the same rules apply right here, or do we have to develop a policy?
What was your question again?
With the rise of smallpox and monkeypox, would the same policy be applied, or will we have to develop another
The
policy?
make it work policy,
The absenteeism and stuff like that.
and then that would fall under unexcused absences, because of course, if you get monkeypox, somebody diagnosed you with it, you're gonna have to stay at home, so then that becomes a medical excuse.
Okay.
Prayerfully, it doesn't come this direction.
All right.
And it's so much less transmissible. It's not through the air.
Right.
It's skin to skin, so it's easier to isolate that child even in the home if they do come.
Okay. 8.7,
Did we take action on that?
did we?
Of course, it came after vote.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But that discussion came after vote.
I move that we take this to executive session. 8.7.
Okay, can I get a second?
This is for the request to
Second.
apply.
We just
Oh.
moved.
This one,
Move this to executive
To
session.
executive session.
8.7?
Yeah,
Okay.
all right, then all in favor? 8.8,
Okay, 8.8, Mr. James, the members of the board, hope this will be one of the last change orders that we'll have to take a look at. But this change order, the original change order started at $295,000, and we just wasn't happy with that. So we've gone back and then we had to trim some here and trim some there. The big item on here is the remodeling of the bathroom over at Valley. For two reasons. Number one, some of our bathrooms over there are not meeting ADA guidelines. And we also had a review come in last year in April, right, Mr. Moore?
Yes, sir.
Last year in April, saying that we need to do some of those bathrooms because they meet the guidelines. So that $155,000 will come, through our other funds that we've been using for bathrooms, ACs and all those kind of things. For the water line, for the choir room, science building, that will come out of the existing building funds, and also for the adjustment to the cafeteria doors, would also come out of the building fund.
Determine our regular bond issue.
Yes. Well, I just call it the building fund, so we can make sure we track it, just like, you know. The middle school is in a different financial setting than the high school.
What's the total of all of the?
It's $170,732.
170?
170,732.
And what all is going on into this Votek restaurant renovation?
It's a complete renovation.
A complete?
And to make the, with the ones in the, where the little kids are,
No, they were in compliance, I think, just the high school bathroom.
Yeah.
Night control.
It wasn't ADA either?
No, it was pipes and everything, not ADA compliant.
So we still within
yes, sir, our budget.
our budget?
Yeah,
That's the question I ask every time with the change order. Every time. Do I not, Mr. Bird?
Yes, you do.
So moved.
Second.
Moving second, all in favor? Passes 5-0. Okay. 8.9.
Move that we take this to executive session.
8.9.
I second.
Okay. Executive session. That's the only one. Okay. Can you get
Second.
okay.
On what?
So, 8.9, executive session.
Oh, yeah, I thought we.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passes. 8.10.
Now, 8.10, I'm down for 8.10. I don't put myself down because the letter, the agreement came, to me. So,
Do we want to move it, to the executive session too, since all of
Dealing with the
that's
same
I would
thing.
think 8, 9
about legal
together.
and potential litigation?
All right.
I move that we, put 8.10 endings considered in the executive session.
Okay, if you're moving second, all in favor? Okay, passes 5-0. 8.11.
3.11, Mr. James, members of the board, is the request for the approval of the district dropout prevention plan. All of the districts are required to submit a dropout prevention plan. I'll just call your attention to specific pages in the booklet that you have. If you look at page 7 and page 8, should be at your desk. Page 7 gives you a look at the district's current demographics. That as of, I think this was as of Friday, the cumulative elementary enrollment was 1,302 students.
Dr. Ralph, yeah.
Dr. Robinson, do you have it?
The cumulative middle school enrollment, we're on page 7, Dr. Robinson, 608 students. Cumulative high school enrollment, 848. Again, this is as of, I believe, Friday. Also gives you the demographic breakdown by gender, ethnicity, by grade spans. On page 8, the chart shows you the average daily attendance for our district from 2015-16 through 21-22. If you'll notice, the year 2017-2018, the district was listed on the state's list for high chronic absenteeism and truancy. 2018-2019 is when the district implemented its student attendance response. And so you can see the impact of that process for 2018-2019 and then 2019 and 2020. Of course, COVID, 2021, so you see a drastic drop, 90.85. And then this past school year, 21-22, you can see that we're still trying to bring our numbers back up. We are making progress. We're still trying to bring our numbers up district-wide, and then it's also broken down by schools. On page 10, You can see the increase in the district's graduation starting in 2015, where the district had a graduation rate of 71.7%. We currently have a graduation rate of 89.6. As we've mentioned before, that number is going to significantly increase because we have found that we had some data entry issues at the lower secondary level that was impacting our district graduation rate. Of course, Natchez Early College has been touting a graduation rate of 100%. I think maybe one year, maybe 98%, and that was one or two students that transitioned to another district. The high school, if I'm not mistaken, is carrying a 90% graduation as well. It is that discrepancy that we are working on to identify to make sure that our numbers reflect the hard work of our employees and our students in making certain that our students graduate. As of 2022, our dropout rate was 5.9%. Okay? Page 12, short-term goals of the dropout prevention plan. 1, to improve our ADA and decrease chronic absenteeism, increase academic performance of students, decrease the number of students who fail subject area tests, increase the passage rate of the 3rd grade reading summative assessment, reduce the number of students retained in kinder through 2nd grade without negatively impacting the passage rate at the 3rd grade reading gates, reducing office and discipline referral, and increasing the number of and variety of communications to families throughout the district. Long-term goals: to maintain a graduation rate of at 95% or higher, maintain a dropout rate of 5% or lower, increase the percentage of students meeting the college and career readiness benchmarks on the ACT, increase the number of students taking and earning college credits in advanced placement and dual enrollment courses, and to increase college and career exploration efforts throughout the district. On page 13.
Do you have any idea what the 2022 data might be for ACT?
That's on page 10. So this is the current that we have.
Right.
So we'll update us.
Do we know, but we do know how many were tested. Did that number increase?
165 were tested.
For 2021?
Mm-hmm. Then on page 13, we just gave you 4 large targets for the dropout prevention plan. Target 1 is attendance. To make certain we're maintaining 90% or higher average daily attendance rate through May 2023. Of course, we would love to hit 95% in all of our schools and district-wide. Target 2 is behavior. To decrease the number of students receiving greater than 2 referrals per year by 1% for the 2022-2023 school year. Target 3, course performance. We want to increase the number of students reading on or above grade level in 3rd grade by 5% and to decrease the district's retention rates. And then target 4 is innovative programs. We want to make certain that we develop initiatives that focus on students that are age 17 through 21 who are high risk for dropping out of school. And so those are our large targets. So what you have in the remainder of the plan is just the specific strategies or steps that we are going to implement or have already implemented, because a lot of these are already implemented to make certain that we hit these specific targets. Of course, with the innovative programs, workforce development, Mr. Moore has added a work-based learning, an additional section of work-based learning program for our students, so we're able to increase the number of students who are actually in the workplace, actually working and gaining high school credits for that work. We're also talking to some local business owners to increase internships for our students. So even if they're not employed, if they're interested in a specific industry, we can partner them with some local community members so that they can get that on-the-job experience. So as a team, we're looking collaboratively from pre-K through 12 and what we can do to ensure that our students remain in school. and the special education, the partnership that the board just approved for our exceptional ed students to actually get on-the-job experience with Merit Health, which is going to be an awesome opportunity for all of our students. So that means that we're impacting all of our students, no matter what their learning differences or capabilities are. We want to make certain that they have those positive experiences so that they actually really do leave Natchez-Adams School District College and career ready.
Mr. Butcher or Tony, I wish that one of y'all would go to speak at, or Ms. McDonald, to the Rotary on these issues. Has anybody spoken to the Rotary?
Yes, ma'am. I have,
Recently?
Mr. Moore has. So every year we kind of rotated and go and speak to Rotary and Kiwanis.
Well, I just know that some of the ones, when they were asked what the problems are, they all said education. To potential employers, you know.
So they need to go
You
back.
say this is an annual,
They need to go back.
Right.
is this annual? How do you do it? Annually, quarterly, biannually?
It's usually-
Anytime they ask when someone come and speak, yes, we can. We
Well, let's
do.
call them and say, we're ready to speak. We heard that you have concerns about education
Sure.
and business owners, and they all say vocational. Of course, you know, I corrected them at the coffee shop and told them it was poverty. That was the wrong answer. We're all facing poverty in the community. You don't put that blame on the school system completely. I'm not saying that, you know, but let's make it clear to them that we're dealing with students with lots of more special needs, lower standard income parents that are single parents, and these sorts of things. And let's make that clear,
You know, that's just a good cop-out
isn't it?
for them to say education.
You're up there doing education.
Yeah,
You know, you wanna pay, teach them.
exactly.
But that's been the mindset
Well,
in our district for a long time. And of course, the problem is even when the more educated, trained young people, when they come through the district or this particular area, they leave town.
Right.
And it only leaves us with a workforce that may be short in other kinds of skills in order to, which justifies that particular statement to a certain extent. But that's, we have so much outflow, but that's through our
Well,
Mississippi.
I just want them to be informed.
And then, not only with that, there are some inside that talk bad about, you know, the system.
you're exactly right.
So,
That's the killer.
I mean, if we can bring in, and I think this would be a good idea, Tony and Mr. Moore, bring in alumni who are doing phenomenal, and we know them. Bring them back and let's do spotlights on Natchez High alumni. Let's show them what we're working with. We can show them better than we can tell them.
Some of you have.
Well, yes, ma'am, and we were definitely doing that before COVID, and we'll definitely get back on that. But I do have to say that folks that y'all are talking about, they don't want to hear it anyway. But we will still drive that message home to them. I assure you. But thanks to Mr. Berry. Mr. Berry. Yes, thank you, Sir Jones.
That Kiwanis, I'm a member of Kiwanis, and they've come many times. I always ask, because we got, every member has to come up with a program for a program for that day. And so I always look to the school, but actually, since I've been working here, my speaker is always the district. I've had Mr. Fields, Mr. Moore, Ms. Jackson, just come highlight the wonderful things that's taking place.
And you know,
it has been well received.
and I think that since Dr. Bunch is an honorary member of the coffee shop, maybe they can start the Friday forums again.
I think they are. Yeah, I think that's gonna start back in the fall, and that's
The
another.
Friday forums. They have Friday forums where everybody show up and
Just a
pretty much give you an
community.
update on what's going on in
I'm
the
sure they're gonna
community.
start again, because that was the chamber that sponsored that too, right?
We participate in those as well.
Yeah, Sandra made a great presentation.
Yeah. So let's, when they start Friday forums, let's just be
No doubt.
proponents. Once a month.
We ready.
But I think this is also an issue of the chicken and the egg. Which one comes first? Because until there's a program designed to target some of our younger people as they leave this area to go to other places and do well, until we target them and identify who they are with a program to have them to be incentivized to come back.
Right.
Okay, until we address that particular boy, it's gonna be the chicken or the egg. Just
Right now, it's just a dinosaur. We know who came first.
We know the chicken came first. The chicken came first.
We do?
Because who had it?
It was chicken sauce.
And then when they rolled the boat up, they had 2 hens and 2 chickens on there. When Noah had the boat up, he had 2 chickens. That chicken was 2 chickens. It went to 2 hens. So the chicken came first. And then they had the eggs.
We need to vote on this.
That's what I'm saying, conceptually, the state has a similar program it used to have to encourage teachers to come back to the state, and there was some incentive provided. I'm saying that same concept needs to be in this community.
Right.
Right.
I think we would love for our students to come back.
Absolutely.
But we have to have something for them to come back to.
Thank you. And that's the problem.
And you know, just
And you gotta know you want it. The kids have to know they want it to come back, okay?
they just sitting around this table, though you have students. Basically, what you got one child still here, when everybody else, you got one child still here. So at least 50% of the people sitting around this table, they got children who gone to other places.
Exactly.
You know, because you know in their mind, they got to follow it out.
And that's true in the state of Mississippi, by the way, as well.
Right.
But Mr. Moore, I think if you would talk about the sort of things that we're doing vocationally,
Yes, ma'am.
you know, I think that that's where people keep saying they don't think we're doing things, and that's, the word needs to get out, what we're doing. I don't mind if people make informed answers that are critical, but uninformed answers are not helpful to our community.
And another thing we need to do, Mr. Fields, if you would, please, I had this on my list. Let's see if we can showcase some of those students from NECA from last year. You know, those kids are going to college, and some of them starting off as juniors. You know, I met a lady the other day, you know, her child is going into, I should say pharmacy. Somebody go through that 2-year program. They start off in a 3rd-year program pharmacy, so it means that in 3 years, that child will come out with a doctorate in pharmacy.
It's huge. And I think the movement of the private schools, the students that are moving from private schools to the Natchez Early College to get that dual enrollment is something that we need to share more with the community and how they're doing and what they like and not like. Gotcha.
I know what the problem is with, I think I've figured it out. Seriously. Mr. Moore, business. The city of Natchez got to know what direction they're going in. Let me tell you why. You got 50% want retirement, just like a Mayberry. And the other 50% want metropolitan, they want industry. So you fighting. You want a quiet town with old money, then new money can't come in because you got 2 different people fighting against one another.
Yeah.
And that's it, just like you said, they fighting against one
They
another.
don't know your.
What did you say?
They said it a different way.
But that's the problem. That's the problem. So if you're gonna have a retirement town, the kids won't come back.
Right.
But if you want economics, you gotta get rid of the retirement town.
But I do think,
Or either separate.
I think, Mr. James, that there's a cooperative middle there that we can reach, and I think that there are a lot of things that are happening. The entertainment industry is a good example.
Right.
You know, that works very well with both sides of, you know, that coin, but,
I'm torn between myself. You know, You
I
wanna
think
say?
there's space enough for everything, but the fact of the matter is, in the past, what has happened is there's a perception that is leaning one way that it may not be necessarily leaning in that particular direction now, as it may have been 20, 30, 40 years ago. And so you gotta educate the community on all of that in order to for the community to consciously work on all fronts.
That's correct.
That's what we gotta do.
Well, and we can't start with people having, information that comes from Facebook. It's gotta be real information. I just want real information out there and let people do whatever they want, especially about our district. Real information, may not, good or bad, but the facts.
Actually, I think the building program will be partly motivational for that attitude.
I totally
Kinds of
agree.
things we're talking
I
about.
totally agree.
With the money.
I think there are people who were opposed to it, and now I think some of them are being more proud of the fact that it's being done. And I think that's what it takes sometimes.
It's about that money, we have the money. But anyway, let's do it on, where we at now? Discuss. We fixed all of
We're
that.
on page 14, I believe.
Yo,
I
would just like
They
to,
tabled, my position play
I would just like to
for
say,
executive session. So we on what, 8.12?
8.12, we got to approve.
yeah, I would just like to say before we approve this, very good. It's very data driven. Everything is in here. I have no question.
It's not about what we say we're gonna do, it's about what we can show we do.
Exactly. Show it. And it's all in this book.
Okay, can we get approved?
Make the motion.
Oh, what?
8.11.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, all in favor? It passes 5-0. 8.12.
I did it right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the board, once more. We'll start with Mr. Fields now. I could just sing my way through it. But what you have in front of you is item 8.12, and this is the approval of the claim dockets and acceptance of the financial reports. Included in this packet are the following: the claims from July 15th and July 29th, as well as the following July 22 financial statement reports, financial reports. That would be the, start from the beginning here, reconciled bank statements, statement of revenue and expenditures, the current budget status report, the district maintenance cash flow report, and the fund equities report. They're all presented here for review. And before I make a recommendation, just want to see if there were any questions that are outstanding based on a review of all of that awesome information.
I'm
I
good.
love
I'm good.
I offer a motion that we approve item number 8.12 and then from the report. Financial report.
Same move second, we approve 8.12. All in favor? Passes 5-0. Great, we get up out of here.
Thank you, sir.
All right, item number 9, administrative report, updates, reviews, and information. 9.1, Ms. McDonald.
9.1, we begin our annual review of policies. The policies under review this month are Policy CI, which is Administrative Personnel Intern Program. Policy CK, Administrative Personnel Professional Development. Policy DJEAB, which deals with the EEF fund to make certain that our language coincides with the legislative requirement that teachers receive those EEF cards early in the school year. Policy GBF AAAA, which is video capture of professional practices. For a few years now, we have been, administrators, as they go into the classrooms, have been using recordings of teacher practices or teacher instruction in order to conduct observations, to review for professional development. And we just wanted to put a policy in place that says that the board recognizes the value of recording instruction as a means of professional development for teachers and for administrators. These video captures would not be used outside of the district, so as not to violate any confidentiality, but they would be maintained internally, again, for a view of professional practices.
Do they sign?
So this policy would not require signing.
Okay.
So,
Go ahead.
Because it's not going out.
It's not going out.
I'm sure it's not going out.
Absolutely.
Okay.
doing your observations, other teachers able to, like, review and then give feedback to their counterparts?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. And so it's powerful to go in the classroom as an administrator when you're having conversations with teachers, to be able to say, well, let's look at this time stamp frame together to see what you think was going on versus what is actually what other people are seeing. So yes, and so also for administrators, it's also powerful. It's one thing to look at other people instructing and evaluating their practices, but it's more powerful to look at what's going on in our district, in our actual classrooms. We have teachers who are doing awesome jobs, who have awesome instructional practices, to be able to use those people as the exemplary teachers in our district to help other teachers who need additional support. So yes, ma'am, so that's how those recordings would be used.
When is this done, during professional development?
Throughout the school year.
Throughout the school year? Okay.
And then the last policy is policy JGCD-R, which is Student Health Service Administration of Medicines. And so in reviewing the policies, realized that there was a reference to this policy, but the actual policy was not there. And so we wanted to make certain that was there. So basically we're saying that district personnel will assist in the administration of medicines for our students. And of course, the language dealing with medical cannabis will say we do not support that. And so on the second page of that policy review is a revision guide that just tells you what those edits are and the reason for those edits. And so those policies are for review. Mr. Fields sends policies out district-wide so that our employees have an opportunity to review the policies that are under review and to provide feedback. We also post them on the district website so our community members can also review them. There's a link there that they can email and submit their questions or their suggestions for revisions. And when we have those, we bring those to the board with our request for approval.
Okay. 9.2.
Thomas?
Good afternoon, Mr. Jones, members of the board, Mr. Butcher, Ms. McDonald Green. Before you have the SO 1, 2, and 3 report for the month of July. Are there any questions?
No. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Board calendar. Just look at it and see if they need to be added or taken away. Give Ms. Davis on that. Superintendent update, 9.4.
Okay, with the superintendent update, we don't have a whole lot to tell you on the superintendent update that we're still making adjustments as it relates to school. We're still making adjustments as it relates to some staff and those kind of things. We will discuss one item into the executive session has to do with some adjustments we want to make with staffing, and we'll ask Mr. Bird to stay in for part of that conversation as well. We're still monitoring the progress of both of the buildings. I know that some of you have been receiving calls about specifically Robert Lewis. But I assure you, if you give us an opportunity, we can tell you why we're doing what. Because of the fact that it's not a situation whereby we are purposely not trying to follow through. The administrators at all of our schools, I think that they are all, me and down and representing, we are on other people, making sure that we get things taken care of that they ask us about. Last week, we had an opportunity, we went to each of the schools and met with the administrative team, with the exception of, I think, one team who the administrator was not there. So we have one team, we need to go back and sit down and just, we didn't take no paper, no pencil for the most part, just see, hey, how's things going, what we can do to improve the situation and those kind of things. And we'll probably be making those visits about every 2 weeks because they're busy, we're busy, but you know, if you have a, sit down and have a 45-minute conversation, you can learn a lot from everybody.
Okay. That's it?
Yes.
School board, you have any with Dr. Rouse?
As always, I want to tell everybody to stay safe.
Okay. Mr. Witt?
No, sir, thank you.
Dr. Wentz?
Just, Mr. Butcher, I have heard various people in the community tell me how nice they think the new school and the changes in the junior high school, that area, and how nice it looks together as one campus. And so,
Thank you so very much.
I think that's moving in the right direction.
Thank you. We're trying, you know, hard to color coordinate everything
Absolutely.
there.
Well, it's beginning to show now, I guess is what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
So I know that maybe you don't see that, but I think a lot of people now are looking over and seeing this school and they like what they see. So,
Thank you. We'll continue to work, right, Mr. Bird, Ms. Mack?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I just want to say that I hear a lot of things, but the good always outweighs the bad. So
Thank you.
thank you all for continuing to do a good job for the district.
Okay. I don't have anything, so this time, can we go into the
I'll move that we go into executive.
No. Termination. Close termination.
Sorry. You want to do it?
No.
I move that we go into closed determination.
I'll say.
been moved and seconded, all in favor? Alright, we're in, closed determination.
No,
I move that we go into executive